You come to me and say, okay, Tom, I can see you get good level of results from watching your videos on your channel. I'm going to metaphorically tie one arm behind your back. Let's see, can you still get the same level of results? And this video is going to be for those of you that are quote unquote too busy to get in shape. So let's say you come to me and you say, I can train for 5 days a week, 1 hour daily. I can walk 1 hour daily and I can food prep for 2 hours throughout the week only. That's all I've got to play with. Let's go. So the first thing you do is set out the training split. If you can only train 5 days a week for 1 hour, bearing in mind we're going to want to run two things: resistance training and formal cardio. So I'm going to put you on no more than a 3-day training split. Let's assume you're a male watching this. I'm going to run an upper, lower, upper training split. When we are training, I'm going to do something known as a top set, a heavy 6 to 10, and then we're going to drop below 20% and do a back off set, 12 to 15. 2 sets across every exercise. This is going to allow for intensity and frequency. Volume is not a privilege we've got at the minute, but for most of you starting on, you don't need a shit ton of volume. A lot of you watch my videos, you actually only really need 3 days a week. Sure, more is always better, but you only actually need 3 days of concentrated training where you actually train hard, where you train multiple muscles per day. That's what you actually need. Now, I'd also be smart about this and I'd make you pair off what's known as antagonist paired sets. This is where you do a lat pull down into a shoulder press, you do a chest press into a row, you do a bicep into a tricep, you do a quad into a hamstring. You get the point I'm making here. That's the way I'd pair everything off. So it'd be bang, 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 and it'd be efficient. It'd be one into the next into rest. Repeat, 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 top set, back off set across all those movements, track and record your weights, and you will be good to go. And at that point, honestly, if you just keep getting stronger across the movements, you'll actually build some good muscle. So that's all we need for resistance training. Next thing would come down to cardio. How would we manage that? Well, if we total up the time we got left, the gym session itself, I believe, would take 45 minutes. So I've got a spare 15 minutes for 3 days of the week, and then another 120 for the other spare 2 hours that we've got. So at the minute, we're operating off 165. To begin with, I'd start you and leave room for progression, 100 minutes per week of the formal cardio, and I'd start it heart rate 120 to 130. But to be fair, I'd just stay sitting around that 120 to 125 for those first duration of time. Then we'd go 100 minutes to somewhere around the 120 minute per week. Obviously, I'm saying this as a total. You would break that up how you see fit. And then I'd push it up to the 165 total when we needed to. And when I say when would you need to, this is we are looking to drop off body fat and hold muscle. When your scale weight is not dropping anymore, then I would look to add that cardio back up. But we can come on to making changes soon because we'll obviously speak about food. Another option you've got is, let's say I've now maxed out all the cardio, you're 6 weeks into plan, but we've still got another 14 weeks to go. I'll then look to turn the dial of different levels of cardio. So we may look to push your heart rate 120 now, then we're going to sit at 130, then we may sit at 140, or we may break your cardio up and do the 2 hours are spent actually doing CV machines tracked at a certain heart rate. The other like spare 45 that's broken up after the other days, we may do something like more intense. You may do like boxing, you may do like assault bike, something that is more intense that kind of mimics resistant training. Like if you're on the bag for like 3 minutes and you're resting, you're getting the same like work rest ratio that you would get when you're doing resistance training. Plus the intensity is also higher when you're on the bag as well. So naturally you would burn more. So I'd utilize 2 forms of intensity to get you actually moving. And the point I'm making with this is to increase the progression of what we're doing here. There always needs to be progression with whatever we're doing in terms of resistance training, cardio training, or manipulating your food to actually make a drop off. When it comes to the steps, you've given me an hour a day. So obviously the goal for that hour is going to be walk as much as you physically can for that hour. In the beginning, you may crack off around 55,000 steps maybe, and then as you progress on, you might be able to squeeze 7K in a day by the end. That's what I'd say for that. Then when it comes to food, I'd give you 1 meal plan. Now, the fact I've only got 2 hours per week to batch cook, because let's say you're that busy, you say, right, on a Sunday I could do an hour, on a Wednesday I could do an hour, I'd be like, fine. At this point, you want the most simplest meal plan known to man. You do not want things that are going to take time the next day prepping and messing around with. So when it comes to that, I'd set out meal 1 is always going to stay the same, and it's going to be something like oats that you can add protein powder, peanut butter, and like a piece of fruit with, because there's no prep time on grabbing a piece of fruit out of a bowl. That's going to be standardized across the week. You do it for 3 days on the bounce. Sure, the last few days might not be great, but again, what do you want here? You want fucking Jamie Oliver taste, or you want to get a 6-pack? When it comes to the next, let's call them lunch and evening meal, you're going to duplicate and prep those meals. So they're going to be some form of a lean protein, probably chicken, some form of a carb. It could be potatoes if you want to feel full, or it could be rice if you want to just sit nicely. The vegetables, I'd go with things like spinach, because you don't need to cook it. You can just throw that in fresh out the fridge. And I'd simply just load you up with spinach. Spinach, tomato, cucumber, again, you're going to have to chop it once a week. Cool, not a problem. But all those things are going to they're going to stay fresh. When it comes to the workouts, I'd just roll with fruit as pre-workout and maybe a shake after. If you said, like, I'm not classing like scoop into a cup as prep time, if you have to do that daily, you just fucking get it. Because you need to take your supplements daily, right? So they're going to need to go in. I'm not classing them as prep time. And then an evening meal at the end of the day, we're talking something like, again, some berries, some yogurt, something you can throw together very, very quick. Because that way, like, you're prepping all your food in 1 hour for 3 days, done, and then you're going to do the same again. Things like, I guarantee it doesn't take an hour to prep. 2, 4, yeah, six meals, plus the other 3. Yeah, so like 9 meals. It's not going to take you more than an hour to prep that. So let's say we can take some of those time and just put them into making a little yogurt meal towards the end of the day. Done. Again, if that was even like too much, you're too busy for that, then we just stick to fruit only and maybe a shake with that. So then that way you're on the simplest meal plan known to man. You don't need to like add any fanciness. There's no long prep times. Done, simple, Tupperware's in the fridge, and you're good to go. At this point here, you've got everything. Like, that's all you would really need. The only thing you need to do is make sure you track everything and know that if you're not making change, we either use the tools of our cardio, which I'd actually say do that first before you actually pull the food, and then I'd pull the food later. I'd take fats first, like the peanut butter, the dark chocolate, then I'd look at pulling down the carbs after that. The last thing I'll leave you with is, if this was you and you came to me, at every opportunity, I'm going to be siphoning your day-to-day life and working out why you don't have time, or why you only have technically about 12 hours a week for all of this. I'd be working out like, why is the case? Because then we want to look at, like, if you say to me, and the whole video of this idea is prepped around like, how do you get in shape if you're too busy? But what I want to work out is, why are you too busy? Like, if your health goes down, it doesn't matter, like, everything else is going to go with it, because you're just not operating at the same capacity that you once were. So what I'd say is, we want to look at things and sort your priorities out first and foremost. Like, if you get your health in a good position, everything else is going to go with it. If you don't, then obviously it's not. And if you look and feel great, your mindset's going to be better, so you're going to perform better in work, so you're going to be a better father, the full 9 yards. So I'd be always looking at things, and I'd be like, well, show me your schedule. Show me exactly your timetable. This is what, honestly, this is what I get Gorilla 2 members to do. They'll come, they'll join, and I'll say, look, this is how the version of you that you want to be is going to live a 24-hour period. It's going to go, but this time do this, do this, do this, and everything's got a time and a place. And that comes from my own experience going through basic training to become a British paratrooper. Everything's got time, everything's got a place, everything's got a location, everything's got like kit you need, everything's got like what you're doing. So you know everything you're on for a full day's worth of work. And the reason we're able to get so much training in 24 hours is because everything has a time and a place. If you're not doing that, you're telling me you're too busy, you're a fucking idiot. You need to get a grip of your own like organization of your life, put things into actual schedule, and then go and execute on that. And you'll actually find that like either some of the stuff you're doing was garbage, you can get rid of it, or at least you're busy, but you've got clarity of things. So therefore you're not adding in loads of random stuff, and you're not thinking you're busy with a load of noise that's actually going on. You're actually just sticking to a set routine. So take that as like a bonus tip. Actually just map out that routine and work out, am I actually busy, or is there just things I'm like filling in for the sake of it? Because ultimately this needs to be a priority. B, you need to make sure you got your routine on point. And if you have done both those things, the tactics I've given you will actually still get you in great shape anyway. So take this advice, apply it. If you like it, you want me to do this for you, there'll be a link in the description. You can come and join us. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you tomorrow.